Hey everyone, this is a quick video on the multitask trap that a lot of agents encounter on your life insurance sales calls. Okay, really, this is just a very basic call control tactic for a very common situation, right? I was listening to a grandmaster chess player the other day who explained the difference between strategies and tactics. And I love this, right? He says tactics are knowing what to do when there's something to do, and strategy is knowing what to do when there is nothing to do. Okay, this is a call control tactic. This is knowing what to do when there's something to do. You're going to observe somebody who is multitasking. And I'm sure a lot of you can identify on your sales calls when you have people who are doing something else, right? They're driving, they're doing the dishes, they're watching TV, they're listening to radio, they're doing something, right? And that's not ideal. That's not an ideal setting for your sales presentations. Okay. So when somebody doesn't have your undivided attention, you need to get it and do it in a respectful way, right? You're not going to get somebody to take action with you unless they're fully engaged with you. And they're not fully engaged with you if they're doing something else while they're talking to you, right? So you have to realize that no one is good at multitasking. Okay. So divided attention, right? Doing multiple things at once, it reduces your prospect's ability to fully understand what is going on about the product, about everything to do with all the information that you're giving them. Okay. You're going to get a lack of emotional engagement if they're doing something else. They're washing the dishes and you're asking them what's come up that's prompted you to want to buy life insurance, or you're probing, you're asking all these questions, and they're focusing on scrubbing off the dinner from last night on their plates, right? Guys, you're not going to get the engagement that you need if they're doing something else. Okay, it also reduces your prospect's ability to retain information. They're going to remember maybe the first few things you said if they're folding laundry or whatever, maybe the last couple things that you said, but they're not going to put it all together. They're not going to engage fully with you and you're not going to get the answers you need from them to get their buy-in. Okay. It just breeds procrastination because they're overwhelmed, right? Because they're doing something else. They have this other task that they're doing, but now they have to make a decision on this other task. They're on the phone with you, and now they have to make a decision and process all the information you gave them as they were doing multiple things. They're just going to say, I need to think about it, because they weren't able to process everything because they weren't fully focused on you. So, to summarize that, basically, if somebody's multitasking on the phone with you, it just hinders their ability to fully engage and process the information necessary to make a buying decision. It leads to indecision. Multitasking, your prospect doing something else, it leads to indecision, right? So I don't care how good a presentation you give, it doesn't matter. They didn't absorb all of it. They weren't fully engaged in it, okay? So you have to make sure your client's focused on you. So I'm going to give you 4 tactics here to get your client focused on you. The very first thing you have to do, of course, is observe, right? For example, if they're watching TV, this is a tactic, okay? Or they're listening to the radio or whatever. Ask them to turn it off or turn it down so that they can focus on you, okay? Many agents just say they're having trouble hearing them, and if they can just turn the TV down or turn it off or mute it, and they don't get any pushback from that, okay? So, and that is a form of call control as well. Okay. You're getting them to do that. It's a respectful thing to do. So they will do it. You won't get any pushback there. But if you have the TV going or any sort of audio noise, or any sort of entertainment, you're not going to have their undivided attention. It will lead to indecision. You have to get the setting right. All right. So that's the number one thing. Or that's the first thing I should say, not the number one thing. The second thing you can do is, let's just say they're doing the dishes. Okay. Ask them to grab a pen and paper to write down some of this information and the rates you're about to give them. I don't care if you're 15 minutes away from giving the rates, right? Get them to focus on you right then and there. A lot of people ask, their clients to get a pen and paper near the end of the presentation to write everything down. But if you have somebody that's multitasking, get them to get their pen and paper now. That refocuses them on you. They're going to wait for your words so they know what to write down, right? And they're going to stop what they're doing because now they have a pen and paper in hand. Okay, so that's another thing you can do. Just ask them to grab it sooner rather than later, the pen and paper, okay? One of the things we do, and this is the third tactic, is at the beginning of our calls, we text. We ask if it's a cell phone. When you take TV calls, we found that 92% of the time it is a cell phone. Is this a cell phone? Okay, great. I'm going to text you, a link with my contact information. You'll see a picture of me, my bio, and, my government ID lookup number, my national producer number. It's going to have all that there. But then they get the text and it refocuses them on you because now they're like fully engaged. Oh, I'm going to get a text. Okay. This person on the other phone, they've never done this before. You don't get people texting you when you call in, like immediately with a picture of the person you're talking to. Okay. It's a pattern interrupt and it gets them refocused on you. Okay. That's not the full intention for why we do that, but it does affect on how they focus on you. Okay. And then the fourth thing is just get them talking. Okay. A lot of agents are just going on and on in their presentation. And I hear this on sales calls, when I'm listening in, the client's doing something else. You hear the background noise. The agent's giving a full presentation. The client or the prospect is giving their one-word answers. Yeah. They're good. The agent's asking the trial closes, sound good, makes sense. Yeah, and they're just going through the motions. They're not fully picking up everything. They're maybe picking up a few things here, a few things there, but they're not putting it all together. There's no emotional buy-in there. Just get them talking. When they start talking about themselves and their situation, what this means to them, why they want this, you get them talking. They are now focused on you. They stop what they're doing. They are like, when they start really sharing, you'll hear the noise stop, because they're focused on you. All right. So that's the fourth thing. Just get them talking. So really the big thing that I really big point I want to make here is that if you have someone multitasking that you're presenting to, the first order of business is to make sure you have their undivided attention. Your presentation does not matter unless you have their undivided attention. I don't care if you just smashed your presentation, right? You're probably going through it when you have somebody multitasking, thinking this is probably a laydown because they're agreeing with everything just to get to the price at the end to make a decision, but there's no emotional buy-in, But guys, if they're not fully engaged, it does not matter. If they're not fully engaged in your presentation, it doesn't matter. You're going to get indecision at the end. They're going to say, I need to think about it. And that's just because they didn't process everything because they were doing something else. Okay, don't start from that position. Identify when you have somebody multitasking and use some of the tactics to get them to refocus on you. Okay, just be aware of this multitasking trap. I hear it on way too many phone calls, and just know that your prospect will continue to procrastinate if you can't win their undivided attention when you're making the presentation. All right, and if you guys can think of any other tactics to get people's undivided attention, post them in the comments. Love to hear them. And I hope this helps you guys.